It was another weekend full of goals, red cards and drama in League 2, and in today's video we're going to go through and round up all 12 of the Game Week 34 fixtures that were played yesterday, or in Carlisle and Barrow's case on Thursday as well. If you do go on to enjoy as always, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. 80 likes would be massively appreciated. Get your thoughts in on your team's performance and result down in the comment section down below, and let's get straight into it. We'll kick things off then with Mark Hughes' first win as Carlisle United boss as they travel away to Cumbrian rivals Barrow and picked up a 1-0 win. A great finish, to be fair, from Dennis, who was heavily criticised in weeks gone by for missing some chances, but it was a great finish, to be fair. Barrow very wasteful in front of goal. They had some really good chances. To be fair, Gabriel Breeze in between these sticks for Carlisle did make some really good saves in the game. They only had 2 shots on target, did Carlisle, in the entire match. Barrow had 19 shots, but still only accumulated the 1.3 XG from there. Ben Jackson and Ben Whitfield looking like the biggest threats down at that left-hand side, but Carlisle played some really nice football. The goal that they score is a brilliant passing move, to be fair, considering how they were trying to play under Williamson, and then they score a goal like that. I just thought it was quite funny as well. But I think that's 3 clean sheets on the bounce now for Carlisle. Barrow, again, it's just that inconsistency which is keeping them down and around them places. Again, I don't think they'll go down. It's a massive win for Carlisle. They've picked up 5 points out of their last possible 9 available. I thought they were dead and buried. I thought Morecambe were definitely going to stay up. I thought Tranmere were definitely going down. After this week's round of results, I'm thinking about changing that a little bit. In all honesty, listen, with the squad that Carlisle have got, they should be challenging for the playoffs. They should not be in this position, but they are, and now they're trying to fight their way out of it. 3 clean sheets on the bounce is excellent. I still worry where their consistent goals are going to come from. They always seem to beat Barrow. I think they've got Walsall on Tuesday, so that's going to be no easy game, but they're out of form, so maybe they could stun them. A big 3 points though for Carlisle, and that does now make it 3 defeats on the bounce for Barrow. And at home is where they've been a little bit stronger so far this season, so I'm sure they'll be very disappointed with that. They are still 9 points above the drop zone with a game in hand, so I can't see them going down, but a really disappointing result for them, and they're really wasteful in front of goal. Into the Saturday early kickoffs then, Tranmere Rovers' first game since the sacking of Nigel Adkins. They picked up a brilliant 1-1 draw at home to Port Vale. It's a very good result for Bradford City as well, but the goal that Tranmere score is just really poor from Port Vale. I don't know why Ben Amos is trying to force it out the back. I didn't really have Port Vale down as a walk ball team where they're playing out from the back constantly when it's not on. That pass is simply not on. It's a great interception, to be fair, from Regan Hendry. I think Tranmere have missed him for a large part this season, and a great first time finish as well from Christian Dennis. Their lead wouldn't last too long. Ronan Curtis would pull a leveller back just 11 minutes later. It did take a massive deflection, to be fair. Ronan Curtis nearly scored an unbelievable own goal in the second half. A great corner into the box from Tranmere, and Curtis has got nobody around him, and he flicks it on and it nearly finds the bottom corner. It's an unbelievable header, just gone in completely the wrong direction. Connor Wood did see red with just a couple of minutes left on the clock as well for a second bookable offence. When I saw that there'd been a red card, I didn't know that it was 2 bookings, and I saw the foul and I thought, well, that's definitely not a last man foul, but I think it is definitely a second yellow card in my opinion. But frustrations are clearly there for Port Vale. I thought Ben Amos made a couple of decent saves later on in the game, but you look at the stats, there was only 7 shots on target. There's barely over 1 expected goal created between both teams. It wasn't the most entertaining of games. I think Tranmere will definitely be a lot happy with the point than at Port Vale. It obviously leaves Tranmere still 3 points above the drop zone. Then they've gained a point on Morecambe, but on the overall game week they've lost 2 points on Carlisle. Whereas Port Vale obviously maintains their unbeaten run. I don't think they have lost in this calendar year. Correct me if I'm wrong, Port Vale fans, but were Bradford City the last team to beat you? I know we played you on Boxing Day. I think it might have been the 29th, but I'm pretty sure it was Boxing Day, obviously in December. Was that the last time that you lost a league match? But obviously it now leaves them at 5 points from third with 2 games in hand, to be fair, but they are also now 7 points from second with 2 games in hand, so they could maybe get back into that top 3, but the pressure is really on Port Vale. With all due respect to Tranmere, Port Vale, if they want promotion this season, automatically they have to be beating teams like that. I know they've got injuries at this moment in time. You look at their front line, having to go with 2 strikers of Curtis and Hackford isn't ideal. Obviously Laurent Talaj coming back as well recently, but I think Jaden Stockley is injured at this moment in time, which is obviously not ideal for them, and obviously they sent out Rowie Patton on loan, but they've not really got that much firepower at the top end of the pitch. Again, nice to see George Byers getting another start in there, but a brilliant I was going to say 3 points. It probably feels like 3 points for Tranmere with how terrible they've been recently, but a brilliant battling point for them. My team, Bradford City, picked up a very big 3 points away to playoff chasing Salford City in one of the other early kickoffs in the game. We went into it without Andy Cook, obviously. We've not had him for a couple of months. Alex Patterson dropped out in the morning with illness. Anthony Sarcevic had to be subbed off after 25 minutes with injury as well. That's 3 big players that we have missed. 5 minutes after that, Salford would take the lead. It seemed like there was maybe a foul in the build-up. I do think it is a bit soft, but I also do think that it is a foul. To be fair, it's a great finish from Okoronkwo into the back of the net, right into the top corner, and he goes over and shushes the Bradford City fans. Another Salford player boots the ball into our fans. Thankfully, though, we managed to win the football match, as Bradford City do. First time this season we have picked up back-to-back away wins. First win all season in the blue alternative kit as well. We did pick up 2 injuries though. Critchell also having to come off in the first half. We made a triple change around the 70th minute mark. Within another 60 seconds, the ball was in the back of the net. Brad Halliday's first goal of the season. He's been excellent since Christmas, and nice to see him back on the score sheet. Michael Mellon missed a fair few chances in this game, but he popped up with an unbelievable finish into the bottom corner. I don't know how he squeezed it in from that angle in the 94th minute. Absolute bedlam in that away, and shirt comes off. He jumps straight into the fans, and I think I can understand a player getting booked for taking their shirt off, but for celebrating with the fans, I never understood that. We had Bobby Poynton booked on Tuesday for doing the same thing, and I think that's what football is about. You know, players celebrating with the fans. I understand taking the shirt off. I don't really know why, but I think that, yeah, that's kind of more understandable. But just celebrating with the fans, should that be a booking? Without the fans, there's no football. Without the football, there's no referees, and then they're not getting paid for it. So I think they should probably rethink that rule in my opinion. Callum Cavanagh's first game back in quite a while. He comes up with another assist as well. Mellon obviously getting the assist for our first goal as well. But just how good does this league table now look for Bradford City? A couple of months ago when we played Walsall, we were 17 points behind them. Now we're only 4 points behind them. We are really breathing down their necks. Our home form's been incredible. We've won 9 on the bounce there. Our away form is slowly starting to turn around as well. It puts us within touching distance now of the Saddlers. There's a 5-point gap between ourselves and 4th. Yes, Notts County have a game in hand, but it really does put the pressure on them. Wimbledon, Port Vale, all the teams around us, and we are in an unbelievable position to achieve automatic promotion this season. Our April running is very tough. We've got the likes of Doncaster, Notts County, Port Vale, Crewe, Chesterfield, all to come in there, but the more matches we win now, the better. Salford, they're a decent team chasing the playoffs. This is a big blow for them though. Now 7 points off the playoffs. Yes, we have a game in hand, 3 defeats on the spin for them, but I thought they were a terrible team. Long ball, very dirty, lots of fouls. Could have had a couple of red cards on another day, but an absolutely massive 3 points for Graham Alexander's side, and I'm really starting to believe now. Bromley FC got back 2 winning ways with an outstanding 1-0 win away at AFC Wimbledon. All the Wimbledon games are very close. There's only normally 1 goal in it between either team, and the goal that they score is just a massive mix-up at the back, isn't it? I think it's Joe Lewis, the man who has the shortest shorts in football. Maybe if he had some normal size shorts, maybe the tightness of the shorts was compressing his brain a little bit, and he just forgot that maybe you should actually clear the ball. You don't always have to shield the ball back to your keeper, especially when it's quite clear he's not going to get there. Great finish though from Corey Whiteley into the back of the net, and an outstanding victory for Bromley. Looking at the highlights, neither team really had too many clear-cut chances. Wimbledon had a shot cleared off the line in the second half, but that was about it really. The Bromley keeper wasn't forced into too much action, judging by the highlights. Again, they've had 17 shots, but only 4 of them being on target. An outstanding win for Bromley. You look at how well they've been doing recently. 4 wins in their last 5. The only team to beat them was my team, Bradford City. In terms of Wimbledon, not great form for them at the moment. After their win against Salford, I thought, yeah, this is showing their season with the luck that they kind of had in that game with the goal. But then after that, they've had a 0-0 with Fleetwood, a 1-1 with Colchester, and a 1-0 defeat to Bromley. It's just 2 points picked up out of their last possible 9 available. It now sets them 6 points behind second at this moment in time. They are only 4 points behind third with a game in hand, but they really need to pick up their consistency and start being a bit more clinical in front of goal. Maybe they've relied a little bit too much on Matty Stevens so far this campaign, but with how good their defensive record has been all season, just 22 goals conceded, I still see them being in and around the top 3 come the end of the season. I think they'll definitely get the playoffs, but I really do see them battling for that top 3 come the end of the season. Brilliant win though for Bromley, for them to get back to winning ways. Again, only 7 points off the playoffs at the moment. Stranger things have happened, but a 7-point gap when Crewe have recently started to turn their form around isn't going to be easy for them to to overcome, in my personal opinion. But it's been an unbelievable first season in the FL for Bromley. Wimbledon, though, they need to get back to winning ways and do it soon. Cheltenham and Grimsby played out a 1-1 draw. There was a certain point in the season where Grimsby just didn't do draws, but they have picked up a point in this game. George Miller missed a penalty on the 24th minute. A good save, to be fair, from the Grimsby goalkeeper. And previously seen it before watching the highlights, and I thought it was very obvious the way that George Miller was going to shoot it. It seemed like he was always going to open up his body just by his body position. Looking at the highlights, it's a bit hard to tell if it is a penalty or not, but Cheltenham do open the score in just a couple of minutes later. Another goal from a corner where they've worked it to the edge of the box and there's just nobody there. They did it against my team Bradford City. I've seen them do it a couple of times this season. They've done it again against Grimsby in this one. I don't know how they keep getting away with it. Grimsby did equalise in the second half. Cheltenham just switched off a little bit from a throw-in, and there's an argument that Svan Thorson does handle the ball again from the angle on the highlights that's posted on YouTube. It is a little bit hard to tell. I could certainly understand the argument from both sides, but Cheltenham, they have to switch on from throw-ins a lot better than that. And it's a great finish, to be fair, from Harvey Rogers for a centre-half to keep his composure as well as what he did. Fair play. And then Cheltenham had a big opportunity late on in the game. The Grimsby keeper just kicks the ball straight at the Cheltenham player. He has an open goal and his shot, he's just got no power on it, and the Grimsby keeper eventually does get back and claim it. But Cheltenham have been a very good home team so far this campaign, so it's not a bad point whatsoever for Grimsby. It maintains their unbeaten run as well, just their fourth draw throughout the whole campaign. Cheltenham, again, consistently, they're starting to build it. 4 games unbeaten for them. They come to Bradford City on Tuesday as well, so that's going to be no easy game for us. They are 9 points off the playoffs with a game in hand. Again, stranger things have definitely happened, but I feel like if they wanted to get in the playoffs this season, this is the type of game that they should have been winning. You look at the stats though, Grimsby did have the better of the game. Possession was even, but Grimsby had over double the amount of chances, 7 shots on target as well. Cheltenham, to be fair, a little bit more clinical in terms of shots to shots on target ratio, but Grimsby created nearly 2 XG. It seemed like quite an entertaining game in all honesty, but you got to remember Cheltenham's XG would have been massively inflamed by that penalty as well. So I think a good point for both teams. Maybe Grimsby will be a bit disappointed not to pick up all 3 though, but you know, 3 points off the playoffs with a game in hand. Yes, their goal difference is a bit stinky, but who knows what could happen. Crewe Alexandra made it back-to-back wins with a fantastic 3-1 win away to Chesterfield. I think this is going to be the final nail in the coffin for the Chesterfield promotion hopes this season. It's obviously been a first good season back in the Football League for them, but defensively, they are absolutely terrible. I think, is it Jamie Grimes, the Chesterfield centre-half? This guy, absolutely awful. The first goal is so weak from him. He's, you know, meant to be this big physical centre-half, and he just gets pushed off the ball far too easily. And to be fair, it's a great finish from Shiloh Tracy. They make it 2-0 just a couple of minutes later, and you're thinking, well, at that point, the game probably is done. You know, Chesterfield in months gone by have been able to score quite a lot of goals, but recently the goals seem to have dried up a little bit. I think they are massively missing Dylan Markande, as a lot of teams would. You know, for me, he was one of the best players in the entire division, but Chesterfield, they're still putting out a very, very good team, and I don't understand why they are so bad. Like, they've got some very good players, the likes of Armando Dobra, Paddy Madden, Darren Oldacre, Donasian came in January as well. I think the centre-back partnership isn't amazing. I'm not a big fan of Peppel as well, in all honesty, but you look at some of the options that they've got a very good team. I just don't know why it's not really working for them so far this season. Obviously, Chesterfield do pull a goal back in the 87th minute. To be fair, it's a great strike from Dylan Duffy, but then Tom Larraway wraps up the game in the 93rd minute. Again, question marks of Bogle being offside, and Larraway's shot does take a massive deflection, but a brilliant 3 points for Crewe Alexandra. Much needed 3 points as well. It maintains that gap between themselves and 8th. Yes, they've played a game more, but they've got a far superior goal difference after the horrendous run of form that they went on to now pick up 7 points out of their last possible 9 available. Score 6 goals in their last 2 games as well. Crewe seem to be finally getting back on track. Chesterfield, though, now 13 points outside of the playoffs. Yes, they've got 2 games in hand, but when you've lost 4 out of your last 5, confidence is very low. Conceded 41 goals. Only scored the 50 as well, which when you're conceding 41 to only score 50 isn't amazing. It's not like what they're doing last season at Notts County, for example, where they conceded 70 but scored 95 or whatever they did last campaign. Chesterfield, I think they're now out of the promotion race. Not Grimsby. Crewe, though, a massive 3 points for them. They are now only 6 points away from the automatic spots again, but they've not got any games in hand, and a lot of teams above them do. But it's all about securing a playoff spot now, I would say, for Lee Bell's side between now and the end of the season. Mickey Dimitri is still not back to fitness as well, so again, to say they're winning football matches without him goes to show how well that they have been doing over the last couple of games, but a massive massive 3 points for Lee Bell's side. Doncaster Rovers made it 3 wins on the spin with an absolute annihilation, really, of Nelson Yardim's Newport County. Rob Street opened the scoring on 34 minutes, a bit of a scrappy goal from a set play, but you're always going to take them kind of goals. Into the second half, Newport have kick-off, and within maybe 10 seconds, the ball's in the bag of their own net. Just really weak in the midfield, poor defending from Kyle Jameson. A great strike, to be fair, from Luke Molyneux, which I think comes either off the post or the crossbar. Rob Street takes him a couple of bites at the cherry, but eventually a nice back heel over the sliding defender and goalkeeper into the back of the net. And then Jordan Gibson missed a couple of absolute sitters in that second half. He did get an assist though for the third goal. Luke Molyneux once again finding himself on the score sheet. Is he the best player in the entire division though? Again, terrible defending from Kyle Jameson, just doesn't close Molyneux down. And it's a great strike into the back of the net. The Newport keeper, I think, will be very disappointed with that, but you look at the stats, it was total domination. The fact that it wasn't 5 or 6, I think, really flatters Newport County, but a brilliant win for Grant McCann's side. The total domination and a good performance, I think, will certainly give them a lot of confidence, because they've won a lot of games this season where they've not typically played very well, but Newport didn't really lay a glove on them. To say possession was very even, the fact that Doncaster had 50% and had 26 shots, nearly 3.5 XG, and Newport only had 5 shots and not even a quarter of 1 expected goal, goes to show the quality and the gulf in class between both sides. Doncaster, though, again, they need to maintain this consistency because they have played a game or two more than a couple of the teams below them, but there is now a 3-point gap between themselves and Notts County, although Notts County and Wimbledon both do have a better goal difference than Doncaster. 3 straight wins for them now after back-to-back defeats. He's always going to fill them with a lot of confidence. Newport, though, recently their good form has started to stop after that 0-0 draw against mighty Bradford City. It is now back-to-back defeats for them. Not scored a goal, conceded 6 in their last 2 as well. 14 points above the drop. I don't think they're going to go down this season, which, considering where they were at the start of the campaign, I think will be a good season for them if they finish anywhere from 19th upwards. But again, they're just terrible in this game. Absolutely awful. Brilliant win, though, for Grant McCann's side. Fleetwood and Notts County played out a Desmond 2-2 draw in a very action-packed game. The scoring was opened by George Abbott on 16 minutes. A moment of madness, or a couple of moments of madnesses, really, from, I think, Sean Rooney, the number 26 for Fleetwood. He firstly passes the ball straight to a Notts County player. He then gets the ball back and just can't get the ball under control. He's running back to his own goal. Eventually just loses his footing, and George Abbott with a cool finish into the back of the net. And then the second half is really where it does liven up. Fleetwood basically play a long ball. It comes off the back or the back of the head of Matty Platt, falls perfectly into the path of, I think, Ryan Graydon, who's then just completely cleaned out by Alex Bass. He doesn't really need to commit to it. Graydon's going really far away from goal, and obviously he does convert the spot kick. Just 2 minutes later, he would have his brace. Some great play from the Fleetwood number 6, a great turn in the midfield and a great finish, to be fair, from Ryan Graydon, but I think Alex Bass will be disappointed with his contribution to both goals. He gives away the penalty for the first one, gets beaten comfortably at his near post for the second goal, and that's now 4 goals in his last 3 matches for Ryan Graydon, 3 in his last 2 since that celebration. And I said at the time he was either not going to score again or go on and win the Golden Boot. The man's going on to win the Golden Boot, and you look at Ryan Graydon's clinicalness compared to Alassana Jatta. How many chances did Jatta miss in this game? Goodness me. He finally gets his goal in the 89th minute. Brendan Weirdo just switches off completely at the back post, and I thought he struggled to deal with the physical threat of Jatta, and, you know, Jatta finally gets himself on the score sheet. But I think we do start needing to be asking questions about how many big chances these Notts County strikers are missing. It's all well and good them scoring 20, 25 goals a season, but they should be getting 50 with some of the chances that they have. And Langstaff missed loads last season. Jatta's now missing loads this season. It's all well and good getting the goals, but I think conversion rate is a much more important stat than goals scored. You look at Jatta's ranking in terms of conversion rate, it's nowhere near the best in the division, and maybe some Notts fans are regretting not taking that £250,000 they were offered. Not £250,000, £750,000 they were offered in January. But a brilliant point for Bradford City's sake. Notts County obviously dropping 2 points, and I'm sure Fleetwood will be very disappointed they didn't manage to see the game out. So you look at the stats actually first, where there was 32 shots in the game, nearly 5 XG created between the two teams. You know, fair play to them both. They put on a real good display. But Notts County, their inconsistencies again are starting to shine through. Just 1 win in their last 4. Obviously not ideal for them. It now leaves them 3 points off of the top 3. Yes, they've got a game in hand, but the pressure is now on that game in hand. In terms of Fleetwood, again, their inconsistencies have recently gone away with the win away at Gillingham, and now a good point at home to Notts County. They were probably taking it before the game. Just the manner of it being in the last minute would have been a little bit disappointing. But they're clearly building for next season. 10 points off the playoffs. I don't think they've got any chance of that, but a solid point at home for Pete Wild's side. Gillingham came out victorious in a big relegation 6-pointer down the end of the table, and I've been back in Morecambe since the start of the season, but this result makes it really hard now to see where their next win is going to come from. Gillingham, I think, hadn't won for like 12 games or something like that. They were on an absolutely horrendous run of form, and the goal that Gillingham scored, it's a great strike, to be fair, from, I think, Robbie McKenzie, but it doesn't have to take a completely massive deflection to wrong foot the Morecambe goalkeeper. If you look at the stats, though, it was total domination from Gillingham. Morecambe, they didn't lay a glove on Gillingham. To say that these are their potential relegation rivals, to only create 0.07 XG, no shots on target, just 3 shots in the entire game, it's really hard to see where Morecambe's next points are going to come from. I thought when they signed Andy Dallas, they beat Fleetwood, scored 4 goals past them. I thought, yeah, they're comfortably going to stay up, and I'm going to look like a genius for backing them to stay up at the start of the campaign, but I really struggle to see where that's going to happen now. A good win for Gillingham, it takes them 12 points clear now of the relegation. I can't see them going down, just 1 defeat in their last 5. In terms of Morecambe, 3 straight defeats on the bounce. They've not scored as well in their last 3 games. They've all been very tight, to be fair. 4 goals conceded, a 1-0, a 2-0 and a 1-0 as well. They are only 3 points from safety with a superior goal difference, but with Carlisle winning, Tranmere drawing, this must feel like a real low point in this season for Morecambe. They still had an unbelievable campaign to still be within only 3 points with 12 games to go, but this is a big blow for them, an absolutely massive blow. And it's not even like they were very unlucky and the stats were in the complete one way. Morecambe were dominated. They did not deserve anything out of this game. Gillingham deserved to win by much more than the 1 goal. The Morecambe keeper, I assume, was Harry Burgoyne. It was. Made a few decent saves in the game, but goodness me, they're a very bad team, as you would expect, but goodness me, they're bad. Harrogate Town picked up a massive 3 points in what was probably deemed another relegation at 6-pointer. They beat Accrington Stanley 2-1. The first goal Accrington score, not Accrington, we'll come on to that in a moment. The first goal Harrogate score is from a corner. It seemed to take a little bit of a weird deflection to wrong foot the Accrington goalkeeper, but the visitors would find themselves level just 5 minutes into the second half. Their levelness wouldn't last very long, though, as Josh Marsh would score an unbelievable volley, to be fair, into the back of the net. He's not got many goals since re-signing for the football club. I think last summer or maybe last January, one of the two. Can't quite remember off the top of my head, but to be fair, a really good strike into the back of the net. And again, Harrogate had some decent chances. James Belshaw made a pretty decent save late on in the game, but this is a massive 3 points for Harrogate. It now takes them 10 points above the drop zone. 2 wins in their last 3. Their form would suggest more mid-table than relegation. You're looking at 7 points picked up out of their last possible at 15 available. It's another defeat though for Accrington. 4 losses in their last 5. It probably keeps them within touching distance for these teams around them. They have still got a little bit of a cushion having that game in hand in well, but as well, just not really an ideal result. They could have done with getting a point out of this game, but I don't think Accrington will go down. I still believe there will be 2 teams worse than them this season. It's just not really an ideal result for them, but a very important 3 points for Simon Weaver's side. They've only scored 28 goals so far this season, so to get 2 in 1 game, that's almost like pigs are going to start flying soon. MK Dons lost once again as Colchester United maintained their excellent unbeaten record. Both sides hit the post. John Kaimani Gordon cutting in on his right foot and striking well, and that came back off the upright. Scott Hogan carried the ball from near the halfway line. It was terrible defending from Kelleher and Flanagan, and his shot came back off the post as well, but there would be late drama as former MK Dons loanee from last season, Jack Payne, would eventually score a winning penalty in the game. Now, the penalty incident is a bit of a strange one for me. Payne picks up the ball in the not in the midfield, really, he's inside the penalty area, looks to cut in on his right foot. It seems to me like he's fouled by the MK Dons man. He's like, when he's falling, he chests the ball onto the MK Dons player's hand. It seems very harsh, and the referee gives a penalty for handball. I think it's more of a foul than what it is handball. I looked at it a couple of times and I thought, I do think it is a penalty, but not for the reason why he's given it. It wasn't a great penalty, to be fair, from Jack Payne. It was pretty central, but the keeper dived the wrong way, and maybe that's all of what Jack Payne's penalties are about, making sure the keeper dives out of the way. Obviously, we had him on loan all them seasons ago, what, about 6, 7, 8 years ago now, and you know, he's a pretty tidy player then. I think pretty much everything Colchester created came through him. Callum Hendry would see red as well in the 92nd minute. When I first saw it, I thought, fair enough, he's not meant to do that. It's just one of them awkward ones. He's gone to control the ball, but looking at it back, you can see he's looking at the ball, then has a look at the Colchester player, and then looks back at the ball. He knows he's there, and he just completely kicks him in the chest. It is a horrendous challenge, probably one out of frustration, but you look at the stats again. How many more times I've got to say it? Woke ball does not work. MK Dons, oh look, we can pass the ball around 7 million times, not a single shot on goal at home. 5 shots all game, only 0.25 XG created. Colchester, yeah, they had less possession. The possession stats are a bit more even than what they normally are, but dominated the XG, dominated the goal attempts. Only 2 shots on target, to be fair, but I do not understand Scott Lindsay's style of play. He's going to end up losing his job out of stubbornness, but he'll probably end up getting a job at a division above, because that's how this ridiculous footballing pyramid system works these days. As long as you play pretty football, you could get a team relegated. MK Dons have been the worst team in the league for like the last 20 games, and somehow he's going to keep his job. In terms of the Colchester season, then it really does keep it alive after 3 straight draws for them. The Carlisle one was a bit disappointing, but away to Notts County and at home to Wimbledon, they're certainly not bad points. A 1-0 win away to MK Dons is a brilliant 3 points for them. They are 9 points off the playoffs with a game in hand. Under the Cowleys, certainly worse things could happen, but I think they need to start scoring a few more goals. MK Dons, could they maybe get dragged into it? 13 points above the drop. 1 point picked up out of their last possible at 15 available. We'll have a look at the form table over the last 20 games. They're down in 17th. Over the last 15 games, they're down in 23rd. Only Tranmere have picked up 1 less point than them over the last 15 games. They are in trouble. 10 defeats out of their last possible 15 games. Absolutely dreadful. They're conceding goals for fun. 27 goals conceded in their last 15 games. Tranmere have also conceded 27, but no other teams have conceded more. They are in real trouble, our MK Dons. Scott Lindsay needs to go for me. He's got a squad that is more than good enough to be doing what he's currently doing, but he's too obsessed with possession. And the final game for us to go through and review then is Walsall 0, Swindon 1. Now, I did a video, like what we've done with these, where we do the roundups, talking about Walsall the other day, and I put in a title that they bottled it, because they bottled that specific game, and they're all in the comment section, like, well, we picked up 7 points out of 9, we're getting back on track. We're 4 points behind you. We are coming. Bradford City are coming like a steam train. Walsall are in trouble. A great finish, to be fair, from Cottrell after some good play originally from Shamanga on the hour mark. But it wasn't really a game where either team created too many clear-cut chances. A lot of the shots are coming from distance, as the statistics would really say. 24 shots, but only 6 on target between the two teams. Walsall creating very little at home once again. You look at where that leaves them in the league table. Yes, it looks like, well, they've just come off the back of some decent form, but they drew with Gillingham. They beat a massively out of form Chesterfield team. They beat Morecambe, one of the worst teams League 2 has ever seen. They drew with Cheltenham after being 2-0 up in the 90th minute, and now they've lost to Swindon. Yes, Swindon are a good team, and they've been in decent form since Ian Holloway has come in, but no Walsall fan can tell me they're confident about promotion. Not with the form of Bradford City, not with the consistency recently of Doncaster Rovers. Okay, other teams around them, not with the consistency of Port Vale as well. Yes, Wimbledon and Notts seem to be slipping up a little bit, but Walsall fans cannot tell me that when they were 17 points clear to now only being 4 points clear, 6 weeks later, they're still very confident of promotion. Yes, Swindon are a decent team, and credit to them, since Ian Holloway's gone in there, he's got them playing some really, really nice football. Their defeat the other week away at Harrogate would have been very disappointing. Since then, though, it's back-to-back wins for them, 2 clean sheets on the bounce as well. Walsall, they're not creating chances, they're not scoring goals. I feel like at the start of the season they had a very good starting 11, but their strength in depth just simply is not there. You look at the options behind Jamil Matt and Ellis Harrison, there's not really much there at the top end of the pitch. I don't see where their goals are going to come from. I definitely don't think Walsall will win the title. Do I think Bradford City will win that? I'm not too sure. Am I still confident of top 3 for Walsall? Even then, I'm not sure. In terms then of how the league table is now lining up, like I just mentioned, Walsall fans surely can't be confident of promotion. Bradford City 13 points out of their last possible 15, picking up form away from home now as well. I am very confident of promotion this season. I think top 7 now is already guaranteed. It's about, can we maintain that consistency and get into the top 3? Doncaster, brilliant win for them. Notts County wobbling a little bit. Wimbledon, they've been on a bit of a wobble recently. Port Vale maintained their unbeaten run. Crewe are finally getting back on track. Grimsby have been in good form. Salford are starting to slip. Bromley and Colchester in good form. Cheltenham in decent form as well. Then we've seen some inconsistency in the likes of Chesterfield, Newport, MK Dons towards the bottom end of the table. A big win for Carlisle. Morecambe are in real trouble for me. Accrington have picked up a really good point. Not Accrington, sorry. Tranmere have picked up a really good point. Accrington, they've been dragged into it a little bit. And the likes of Harrogate, Barrow, Gillingham just kind of in no man's land at the moment. They could get dragged into it, but I think they probably won't, just because of how bad these teams are below them. But there we go then. There are all Game Week 34 League 2 matches reviewed in a little bit more detail. If you have enjoyed, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Your support as always is massively appreciated, so can we try and hit 80 likes on today's video? Who do you think is getting promoted? Who do you think is getting relegated? And who do you think will be next to sack their manager? Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you very soon for another one.